The price of deception. The wedding had been a spectacle: white roses, crystal chandeliers, and a dress that shimmered under the golden glow of the ballroom. Evelyn had looked radiant, her smile lighting up the room as she held Daniel's hand, believing she had found her forever. But forever turned out to be a lie. It started with the little things. The late-night meetings. The unexplained bank withdrawals. The scent of a perfume she never wore lingering on his shirts. At first, she told herself it was nothing. Daniel was busy. He was running a company, handling deals, securing their future. Then came the whispers. The cautious looks from friends. The sudden change in his demeanor, his once affectionate words replaced with distant nods. And then, one evening, as she sat alone in their penthouse apartment, scrolling mindlessly through social media, her world shattered. A video. Him. In a dimly lit lounge, hand resting intimately on the thigh of another woman. Their laughter, the way he leaned in, the way his lips met hers. Evelyn felt the ground beneath her disappear. Her hands trembled as she replayed the video, hoping, praying, that her eyes were deceiving her. That somehow, this wasn't real. That the man she had loved, the man she had vowed to spend her life with, wasn't capable of such a betrayal. But reality was unforgiving. Daniel came home that night, smelling of whiskey and cologne. He barely glanced at her as he tossed his keys on the counter, loosening his tie. "Eve, why are you still up?" he mumbled. She stood frozen, her phone still clutched in her hand. "Who is she?" Her voice was quiet, steady, but inside, a storm was raging. He frowned, rubbing his temples. "What are you talking about?" Evelyn swallowed the lump in her throat and turned her phone toward him, playing the video. Silence. A long, suffocating silence. Then, he sighed. Sighed. As if this was an inconvenience. As if she had caught him in a minor mistake, something insignificant. "Look, Evelyn. I can explain." "No." Her voice was firmer this time. "No more lies, Daniel. Just tell me the truth." He hesitated, then ran a hand through his hair. "All right," he muttered. "Yes. I was with her. But it didn't mean anything." Evelyn felt like the walls were closing in. "It didn't mean anything," she echoed. "So the woman you were kissing, touching, laughing with, she was nothing?" "Yes," he said quickly, stepping closer. "It was a mistake. A stupid mistake. But you and me, Eve, we're solid. We have a life together. I love you." She let out a bitter laugh. "Love? You call this love?" He reached for her, but she stepped back. Something inside her snapped. She had spent years molding herself into the perfect wife. The supportive partner. The one who always understood, always forgave. But not this time. This time, she wasn't going to cry herself to sleep. She wasn't going to beg for answers. She was going to burn the house down. And Daniel had no idea what was coming. Evelyn didn't sleep that night. She sat in the dark, her mind racing. The old Evelyn might have broken down, might have clung to Daniel's empty apologies, hoping he would change. But that Evelyn was gone. By the time the sun rose, she had a plan. Daniel had spent years making her believe he was the successful one. That she was just his beautiful wife, the woman who stood beside him at business events, who smiled for photos while he played the role of the perfect husband. But what he didn't realize was that she had been watching. Learning. Every contract. Every deal. Every shady little maneuver he thought she was too naive to understand. She knew everything. So when he left for work that morning, kissing her forehead like nothing had happened, Evelyn got to work. By noon, she had transferred $2 million from their joint account into her own. By evening, she had made a call to Daniel's biggest competitor. By midnight, she had access to all of his financial records. The next morning, she wasn't sitting at home, crying into a glass of wine. She was sitting across from a lawyer, signing the papers that would end Daniel. 48 hours later. Daniel stormed into their penthouse, his face red with fury. "What did you do?" he bellowed. Evelyn stood in the center of the room, calm, collected. Dressed in a sleek black dress, she looked more powerful than ever. "I took back what was mine," she said simply. "You ruined me." His hands balled into fists. "My company, my money, everything is gone." Evelyn tilted her head. "Oh, Daniel. It was never yours to begin with. It was ours. But you decided to throw it all away for a cheap thrill." His jaw clenched. "You're making a mistake, Eve." She let out a small laugh. "No, Daniel. The only mistake I made was trusting you." She grabbed her handbag and walked past him. And as she reached the door, she turned back one last time. "Oh, and by the way," she said with a smirk. "The divorce papers? They'll be on your desk in the morning." Then she walked out, leaving Daniel standing in the ruins of his own betrayal. Evelyn stepped out of the penthouse with her head held high, but as soon as the elevator doors closed behind her, she let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. She had done it. She had walked away. But this wasn't the end. Daniel wouldn't go down without a fight. She knew him too well. He was a man who thrived on control, and she had just ripped it from his hands. He wouldn't just let her leave. He would try to win her back, not out of love, but out of ego. And Evelyn wasn't about to let that happen. The next day, she was sitting in a cafe, sipping her espresso, when the first text came. "Daniel, Eve, let's talk. Just us. No lawyers." She smirked. How predictable. She ignored it. An hour later, another message. "Daniel, I know you're upset, but this doesn't have to end like this. We can fix it." Fix it? Fix it? He had shattered their marriage, and now he wanted to glue the pieces back together as if nothing had happened. Evelyn put her phone down and turned her attention back to the man sitting across from her. Liam Carter. Daniel's former business rival. Now, her ally. "Are you sure you want to go through with this?" Liam asked, raising an eyebrow. Evelyn stirred her coffee slowly, a knowing smile playing on her lips. "Oh, Liam," she said sweetly. "I'm just getting started." 2 weeks later. Daniel was drowning. His company was falling apart. His stocks had plummeted. Investors were pulling out. And the worst part? Evelyn was behind all of it. Every call he made, every desperate attempt to fix things, led him back to her. She had taken everything, his power, his empire, his influence. And now, as he sat in his empty office, staring at the divorce papers she had already signed, he realized something chilling. Evelyn hadn't just left him. She had destroyed him. Daniel sat in his empty office, the once glorious empire he had built now reduced to nothing more than a hollow shell. His hands trembled as he reached for the divorce papers. His signature was the only thing missing, the final act of surrender. He could fight. He could try to claw his way back. But deep down, he knew Evelyn had won. The woman he had underestimated, the woman he had betrayed, had outplayed him at his own game. The door to his office creaked open. He looked up, expecting a lawyer, an assistant, anyone but her. Evelyn stood there, radiant, exuding an effortless power that made his stomach twist. "You really thought I wouldn't fight back, didn't you?" she said softly, stepping inside. Daniel let out a bitter laugh. "I never thought you had it in you." "That was your first mistake," she replied, leaning down and placing a pen on the table. "Your second? Thinking I ever needed you." She straightened, tilting her head slightly. "Sign the papers, Daniel. It's over." His eyes locked onto hers, searching for something, remorse, hesitation, regret. But there was nothing. Just cold, beautiful certainty. He picked up the pen, his hand shaking slightly. With a deep breath, he signed his name. Evelyn smirked. "Good boy," she whispered before turning on her heel and walking away. As the door clicked shut behind her, Daniel exhaled sharply, realizing for the first time in his life what it felt like to truly lose. And Evelyn? She walked out into the city, the air crisp with possibility. She wasn't just free. She was reborn.